Hello and welcome back to Dominion, Nova Scotia. You're watching the 2026 Nova Scotia Under 15 AA Provincial Hockey Championships here. We finally made it. It's the gold medal game. Two undefeated clubs going head-to-head for the provincial gold medal. It's the 5-0 Glace Bay Miners, yet to even tie a game in this tournament, going up against the Halifax Hawks, both coming up with thrilling, nail-biting semifinal wins here this morning here on Easter Sunday, and make it into the final here on High Button Sports. My name is Luke Diamond. Thank you for tuning in here to the finale of the Nova Scotia Under 15 AA Championship. We started the action here this morning with semifinal number one, Glace Bay going head-to-head against the Dartmouth Whalers. Glace Bay led by 3 at one point in that game. The Whalers fought back to tie it in the second. 4-4 heading late in the third. And a goal from Matthew Hutt, the captain, for the hat trick on the power play. Not to mention a couple of huge saves late from Zach Boutlier to punch the Miners, the host team's tickets to the gold medal game, going up against the Halifax Hawks. They were down a goal heading into the third period against their crosstown rivals from back home. The Bedford Blues found a way to find the back of the net 3 times to carry their momentum into this provincial final here. And the Hawks, they're the defending provincial champions here, looking to repeat at the top of the U15 AA Summit here this weekend at the Dominion Arena. And it's been an excellent weekend at that. Some really good hockey, very fast, some high-scoring games. And it all comes down to this. Each team playing a lot of hockey in the last few days. Game number 6 for each of these clubs, adding on the 4 round-robin games and the semifinals this morning as the teams prepare to get going here in the gold medal game. And the Miners will tap in their goalie. And as the Hawks come off the bench at the same time as well, let's meet our starters here today. Cohen Blair between the pipes here in the final for the Hawks. Over on the left side of your ice. This will only be his second start of the provincial championships, and it couldn't come at a bigger time for Blair. And in between the pipes for the host Miners, that's Joey Sylvester. We'll remember him from yesterday, winning the goalie shootout competition in the skills comp. He will start game number 3 of his provincial championships. With everything on the line here for gold, the Halifax Hawks in the red uniforms to your left, and the Glace Bay Miners in the whites. As we get underway, it is the championship final here in Dominion as the Hawks flip it down the ice. First into the corner for that one is Mason Reed, the defenseman for Glace Bay. The Miners are playing with a couple fewer players than they were here this morning in the semifinal, dealing with a couple of suspensions. Miles Majic and Colby Kaiser were both ejected from the semifinal on 5-minute major penalties and game misconducts. So that also excludes them from the matchup today. So a bit of a shorter bench here for the host team. But they got their home ice here to contend here up against the Halifax Hawks, the number 1 and number 2 seeds here in the tournament, going head-to-head. It's the shot from the tight angle from Brown will whistle wide, and the second bounce came up in front. Joey Sylvester has had to be alert here in the first minute of play here in Dominion, as it is shot down the length of the ice by the Miners. So the draw will come back down to their end. Halifax made it into the crossover round on the merit of a 1-win, 3-tie round robin, then beating the Bedford Blues earlier this morning. Glace Bay yet to drop a game here on home ice, looking to complete the perfect tournament here in Dominion as that rattles up into the mesh here at the Dominion Arena. Another factor in the really fast, action-packed play this weekend, the Dominion Arena, maybe not your typical rink that the players are used to playing at in this league. Smaller ice. You'll see that the glass is shorter maybe about half the size in other rinks as the shot from Cam Ferguson rolls wide. But makes for a lot of action and amplifies a lot of the mistakes that the players might make. Here's Matthew Hutt, the captain of the Glace Bay Miners, coming off a hat trick in the semifinal game, including the game-winning goal. It's been a big weekend for the leader of the Miners. Brought into the zone, shot from the slot. That came off the tape of Matthew Hollett, will roll wide. Loose puck sent around. First weigh-in on the pinch was the defenseman Lucas Tang from Halifax. And Glace Bay will carry it up and out of the zone. That's Ferguson taking it up the center off of Hutt's skate. And in one-on-one from distance is Hollett. And Joey Sylvester reaches up from his knees to snag that out of midair as we're 2 minutes into the gold medal game here in Dominion. Draw will come now to the right of the Glace Bay cage. Lying up there is the captain, Joseph Rimmer of the Halifax Hawks. He is leading his team in scoring in this tournament. Here on the top line for Halifax, including Owen Kempster-Harper and Ben Connick. He's going to escape up the center. Irick Sullivan exchanges the pass back and forth with D partner Keaton Bond. Sullivan's going to give it up though, and his shot into the Halifax zone, bobbled up there a little bit by the goaltender Cohen Blair. Getting the start here in this championship final for the Hawks. Will cover it up and force the face-off to his left. Rimmer and Jonas Surrett will line up for the face-off. Surrett, the leading scorer for the Glace Bay Miners. Through the round-robin portion of the tournament, he registered 11 points, including 5 goals and a hat-trick. It has been a dominant weekend for Surrett, the centerman for the Miners. And it appears the net was slightly dislodged after the face-off. So we'll try that draw again on the far side of the ice. Again, Surrett and Rimmer going to the face-off once the linesmen are satisfied, and it is. Surrett wins it cleanly. Back to the point, into the chest protector of the goaltender Blair. Backhand, and it rolled through and wide. Down into the corner, and held at the line barely by Reed off the shin pads of Kempster-Harper, and picked off by Connick and brought the other way for Halifax. And off a skate over the center ice logo, Surrett will bring it back in, and it's dumped into the far corner by Glace Bay. Rimmer will spin around and hit his man in below the goal line. Swung to the opposite side of the ice, and Rimmer is across the red line and then the blue. He is surrounded by a triangle of Glace Bay players, and Surrett will lay the body on Rimmer. Kept in, though, only for a second by the Hawks. Hopped over the stick of Sullivan, so he will backpedal to his own blue line. Throwing up on the pass, Jax Nickerson-Meehan scored the winning goal in the semifinal against Bedford. That was after he missed on an open net earlier in that game. Safe to say he made it up to help send his team to the finals. As a shot out of the zone, harshly by the Miners. The icing is waved off as it hit an object on the way out. Backhanded up and out of the zone by Sullivan and hard off the glass, who is on the receiving end of the hit from Drew McPhee. Picked up by Nickerson-Meehan. There was a wild stick in there from Baxter of the Miners, and that will slow down the Hawks' advance. 4 minutes into this game, still scoreless in the provincial championship final. These teams fighting for the U15 AA crown here in Dominion this weekend. It's picked up. And up on the rush is Spencer Baxter. He'll jump around the defenseman. Baxter on a tight angle and covered up by Cohen Blair. Cool, calm, and collected with a couple of challenging early saves down in front of the Hawks net. So face-off will come to his right shoulder. Both teams completing some changes. Completely fresh legs for the Miners, who will switch up all 5 skaters. Jonas Surrett in on that O-zone face-off, and the tie-up ensues, and back to Cam Ferguson. Line tip, rebound in front of the net. Spencer Melski was jamming away. He has 5 goals in the tournament as the Hawk goes down on a collision in behind the net, and is kept in on the zone on the far side by Blake Graham. Graham can't get it very deep, and is sent in between the Miners' defense and the length of the ice, 200 feet or maybe less here in the smaller Dominion Arena, as it's an icing on the side of the Halifax Hawks. 10:24 on the clock, approaching the 5-minute mark of this first period. Glace Bay, a good couple of shifts after a bit of a hotter Halifax start. And Surrett will lose that face-off to Joseph Rimmer. Rimmed around the boards along the dash. And it gets away from Kempster Harper of the Hawks. So we'll redo that draw all the way down the Halifax zone. Rimmer lining up to the left of the Halifax net, this time going against Matthew Hutt, the battle of captains. It's tied up in the corner. Hutt headed for a moment. It's going to skip back to the line. Off the shoulder of the goaltender Blair and knocked wide. A heavy wrister from the point from Bertram Gold of the Miners. Along the far side were Connick and Gold pinching very deep in for Glace Bay. Not afraid to get involved there. Going up against the winger from Halifax. And here goes Blake Miller. He's a fast presence from the blue line for Halifax, and he almost took off through there. He scored a couple times in this tournament just doing what he just did there, as it's thrown into the zone by Zylstra. And the Glace Bay forwards and defense will all change up at the end of a shift. Down the corner is McKinnon, who provides the forecheck, and it's brought up the center by Jax Nickerson-Meehan, who is stuffed up there by the defenseman Cam Ferguson off the puck. It will exit the minor zone, is returned to the corner by Nickerson-Meehan in behind the net, and rolls right up to the glove of Joey Sylvester, who will opt for the whistle and a cover-up. 9:13 to go here in the gold medal game. Glace Bay and Halifax tied at 0. And the draw will come to the left of the Glace Bay net. Vincent Brown in there against Jonas Surrett. And it'll be won by the Hawks. Nickerson-Meehan reverses it in behind the cage. And it'll pop out to Blake Graham. And up the middle, Surrett will take it. And he's got some speed, maybe in numbers. Cuts in the middle, the backhand. Pushed off the puck there by the defender. And worked off to the side. Surrett looking for goal number 6 of his tournament. And a hard shot in a floater from the point off Ferguson's tape is wide. Second attempt, that time from the opposing defenseman. And sent up the center on the clearing attempt for Halifax. A collision in behind the play. Nickerson-Meehan throwing the body on a minor. And another one the other way. A physical first few minutes of this gold medal matchup. Sullivan goes D to D. Some Hawks are changing up. And it's retrieved on the Glace Bay side by Ferguson. D to D pass, Baxter grabbing it, and up through the middle of the ice. Red line then blue for Hutt. Will gain the zone, but loses the puck. Up there trying to get it back is Baxter. It goes off his right foot. And the Hawks attempt to clear. Reed holds the line the first time. Baxter will retrieve it at the top of the circle. Centering attempt as Drew McPhee was coming off the bench for Glace Bay. And set toward the net off the side, off the tape of Gold. And that time it will get out to center. Reed curling around. Pressure there closely, and a big hit thrown by Roman Marson. Marson had a goal in the third period in that semifinal against Bedford. As it's stolen by Hutt up the middle. Lets it go along the ice, is blocked on the way in. With Baxter taking a tumble from Glace Bay as he charged toward the net, and a collision, and down goes Matthew Hollett as the Hawks bring it in the other way, and behind the net is Peddle, and that's off a skate and jamming at it. Hollett now in front of the net. Backhand fork from Peddle is kicked away with the right pad of Sylvester. There's a stick in behind the Glace Bay net as it's sent down the length of the ice, and an icing call against the Miners. Midway through the first period here. Still no score. Glace Bay and Halifax contending for the U15 AA title. As the Miners win the draw in their own zone, Cooper Zylstra gets tied up there and takes a tumble. The Hawks trying to establish some pressure of their own down the zone. Melski attempts to escape pressure. Halifax will take it back. It's Kempster Harper in the high slot. Leaves it on a reverse for Miller. Miller cutting in. Looks for the center where his teammate Ben Connick was parked. He's not going to get there, but Miller gets it back and cuts in. A great shooting range. Second attempt. is off the pad, and a big save by Sylvester from close range. Now up top, point shot off the leg, off the Lucas Tang shot, and a big block there for the Glace Bay forward. But Kempster Harper will get the puck now, and a huge block in front, and in pain is Blake Graham. You can see it as he collapsed to the ice on one knee. He was hurting after that one. A gutsy play by the Glace Bay Miners defenseman with 6:09 to go in the first. Face off to the right of the Glace Bay net. Vincent Brown lost the draw to Hutt. Rimmed around the close side. Mason Reed, the Glace Bay defenseman, getting caught up in there in a 3-on-2 rugby scrum. A trio of Glace Bay Miners in that battle, but it's going to be Vincent Brown coming out with it. Or he did for a second anyway. Now he'll chase Hutt into the corner with it. And Brown is taken down. Nickerson Meehan in there to support his teammate. Brought out front. Aiden Todd had a look from close range. And in the process, the net behind Joey Sylvester was dislodged. 5:43 to go in the first period. Still scoreless on High Button Sports. Draw coming up deep in Miners territory. And one back by Brown. Fortier lets it go, a very high wrister. And that will be grabbed by Sylvester. So a repeat of the face-off to his left. The top line will jump on for the Hawks. Joseph Rimmer wins it back on the offhand. Fortier tries to flutter in the backhand, but picked off by Glace Bay and sent down the length of the ice. So another stoppage in play here. .5:28 in the period. Rimmer and Hutt on the face-off, won by Hutt. But Rimmer will jump right in to throw a hit. Now Kempster Harper, close quarters, rebound. Rimmer digging at it, side of the net, and somehow managing to keep it out was Joey Sylvester, sticking out the left pad to keep it out of his net. 5:19 to go in the first period. And that first line has been buzzing to start the game for Halifax. They'll stay out there. Draw to the left of the Glace Bay goalie. On the other side, Jonas Surrett will take the face-off. So matched up here with the top line for Glace Bay. And it's won back that time by Surrett. One for the backhand pass, got to Cam Ferguson. But he'll have to work it in behind the net to his teammate Baxter. Baxter is pinned up there along the wall by Connick. Glace Bay will attempt to break out on the opposite side now. Rimmer was lined up for the hit, and that'll be enough to take it away. Joseph Rimmer lost for Kempster Harper. He'll throw in the backhand and behind the net where Connick was waiting. He tried to work it out front, but received some opposition from the defenseman Blake Graham. And now some time for Glace Bay to get it out. Looks like Surrett is heading down the ice. It's McPhee, lets it go. Low block, a rebound, and gloved by Cohen Blair, making a couple strong saves himself here late in the first period with now 4:40 to play. Face off now in Halifax territory. Surrett wins the draw back. Baxter helps him. Now played in down low. Around the yellow bumper. And picked up at the far side by Drew McPhee. And unable to keep it in there was Blake Graham. It's underneath his glove in a foot race. Matthew Hollett hustling after it. Peddle will keep it in the zone for Halifax. Out there on that line with Roman Marson. Glace Bay has a little bit of time to get it out, and they will, as Spencer Baxter tried to step in around his defenseman, but stripped there by Blake Miller. Now into the zone. Tried to get around there. Peddle on the individual effort. He got knotted up with Blake Graham. And both of those players will collapse to the ice. Play will continue on up through the middle of the Halifax defense. Icing waved off with Baxter giving chase for Glace Bay. Now picking it up is Tang. Gets it up to the left wing. It's out of his reach, but it exits the Halifax zone. 3:45 now to go in the first period. Still no score in this provincial final. Gold picked it up on the backhand and will get it up to his teammate Cooper Zylstra. He lost it, and now Miller will go for a skate. The high-flying defenseman, Blake Miller, looking to turn on the Jets down there. Lost possession. He'll get it back here at center ice. Now here goes Miller. Swinging in on the far side. Tried to go low pad on Sylvester, but he shuts the door along the ice. It's still kept in the zone. Now Glace Bay will get it out the far side. Spencer Melski almost picked it up and took it in himself, but instead they'll opt for the dump in. Glace Bay head to check up on the delayed offside. Now Nickerson Meehan throws the cross-ice pass intended for Connick. It's going to elude Gold, but he gets back to make the D-to-D pass. Back on the tape of Bertram Gold. And up the wall intended for Duncan McKinnon, but that puck will ricochet up off the mesh and out of play with 2:42 to play in the first period. You're watching the U15 AA gold medal game on High Button Sports. Face off to the right of Cohen Blair in the Halifax net. It's going to be a tie-up. Surratt couldn't win that back to his defenseman as Halifax will get it up the center. Cam Ferguson fights it over to Surratt, and Jonah Surratt will blast into the zone for Glace Bay. Picks up speed and surrounds the perimeter. Ferguson from the point, looking for that point shot. They like to use that, Glace Bay. And Duncan McKinnon couldn't quite get the stick handle on it. It's played up, and a call in behind the play as Halifax was attempting to skate out with it. We have an injured Glace Bay minor down in the Halifax zone. The arm is up in the air as the trainer goes to check out the player. As it was Jonathan McLean of Glace Bay who went down after a hit. He will get up under his own power, which is good. Nothing too serious, hopefully. But the Hawks will go to the penalty box for it. So for the first time in this hockey game, Glace Bay will go to the power play. Jonas Surratt in to take the draw. Out with Matthew Hutt and Drew McPhee as the forwards. And back to the line where Cam Ferguson will work the point. He's joined there by Blake Graham. Ferguson plays it back and forth to Hutt. Lets it go. Roughly that's the spot where he scored the winning goal in that 5-4 barn burner against the Dartmouth Whalers earlier this morning. The Hawks do well to clear the zone. It's picked up through the middle by McPhee. He will coast in, lets the shot go, looking for the low 5-hole area on Cohen Blair. That's turned aside. Blake Graham winds up the clapper and blocked in front by Vincent Brown. And Brown will take off for a look of his own. He gets to center ice and will send it in. Jax Nickerson Meehan in as the lead forechecker will throw the body up top on Ferguson and stolen in front of the net. Scores! Jax Nickerson Meehan opens the scoring in the gold medal game for Halifax, shorthanded. And a miscue in behind the Glace Bay net. And what a shift for Nickerson Meehan, not to mention what a medal round he's been having so far at the provincial championships. A big goal last game and a big goal in this one in the provincial final to break the ice for Halifax with a minute and 25 to go here, with Glace Bay still on the power play for the next minute and 8 seconds. Skating in with it is Mason Reed. He opts to turn back and will leave it for Hutt. Hutt is pursued there closely by Kempster Harper And now he'll turn on the Jets in front of the Halifax bench. Hutt will muscle off his man, cuts to the middle with speed. His own teammate gets in the way and gets in front of the shot as Zylstra is digging for it. Now dug through on the opposite side, and Hutt collapsing on the net. Melski is also in there, and it's sent down the ice by Halifax. Back to pick it up now. 35 seconds left on the power play and only 3/4 of a minute in the period. Sent up the middle over the skate is Melski, and that's going to be intercepted by Miller. Immediately back to Reed as the penalty killers change up. So does some of the power play unit. And knocked down on the entry was Reed. He'll recover the puck and leave it for Gold. And there was a penalty killer, Brown, right in there for Halifax, is brought out the other way by Roman Marson. He throws the backhand right on to Joey Sylvester's net with 8 seconds left to go now in the penalty to Halifax. 20 seconds remaining in the opening frame. Just a moment ago, Jax Nickerson-Meehan opened the scoring, stuffing it in on the wraparound, shorthanded to put Halifax up 1-0. Drew McPhee walking in and almost snuck it through the legs there of the defender. Marson will keep it in the zone. Only 5 seconds to go, though. McPhee lets the shot go in front of the net. Will bounce away from Surratt, and that will lead to the expiry of time here in the first period of the provincial championship final after 15 minutes. Halifax Hawks with the opening goal. They lead this one by a 1-0 score. You're watching the 2026 Nova Scotia Under 15 AA Provincial Hockey Championships here on High Button Sports. And welcome back for the second period here in the gold medal game of the U15 AA Provincial Championships. After one period, the Halifax Hawks find themselves with a 1-goal lead. Jax Nickerson-Meehan struck late in the period, shorthanded. Right down the ice with it is Glace Bay off the opening draw. Reed at the point, and Kempster Harper sticks his right skate in the shooting lane to knock that up and out of play. As we return to 5-on-5 action here. The Miners had a late period power play that they couldn't convert on. As we're back to even strength here. To begin the second period, Kempster Harper will dangle that up to his teammate Connick. And McPhee lost it as he got a little tied up with the linesman at the blue line. Rimmer scoops it up the middle and is hit by McPhee. Surratt also going after Connick, who's trying to wrestle his way out of the pressure, and Connick will gain the red line and dump it in. That line will change up for the Hawks as it's taken out of the Glace Bay zone by the Miners. Bertram Gold doing a little bit of toe dragging there as he'll gain the red line and throw it in, but there's also some tired Glace Bay players out on the ice, so it'll be sent back the other way, or maybe not so fast, as it's taken by Luke Pedelin. Partial 2-on-1 off the inside of the shin pad of Blake Graham, who has blocked a lot of shots here in this game. Had a shot the length of the ice there by a Glace Bay player right on top of the goalie Cohen Blair of the Halifax Hawks. He'll guide that aside as Vincent Brown will escape pressure and behind his own net, but runs into a pair of Miners in on the forecheck. Bumped along the boards, and Graham will send that in, and jumping up to stop that was Blair. It was right into his chest pad and sent in down low off the skate of Brown and wide. The Miners hold his own once more. The Hawks unable to clear in a foot race in the corner. Zylstra causing havoc for the Miners Worked up to the point for Graham. Lets the slapper go up and over the net as Cooper Zylstra tried to deflect that past an outstretched player. Kept in again by the Miners, who are still tying up their players from Halifax. And finally, the Hawks will clear it out to center where Graham will fire it back in. Hawks trying to complete a change here on the long change here in the second period, just avoiding the too many men call as the goal scorer Nickerson Meehan is up with the puck through center. We'll throw that to the blocker side along the ice and wide of Sylvester. Backing off from the pressure is Blake Graham. Throws it D to D. Scooping that up is Cam Ferguson in front of the Halifax bench. Rimmer all over him for the Hawks and will take it away with a little bit of help from his teammate Connick. Connick across the line, lets a high one go, but Joey Sylvester sees that all the way through and makes the save with the glove. With 12:20 to go here in the second period, Halifax still hanging on to that 1-goal lead here in the gold medal game. Top line takes the ice for the Hawks. There's a violation off the draw. Looks like one of the Glace Bay Miners players wasn't in the right spot, so Jonas Rhett will be ejected from the face-off. Duncan McKinnon in to fill in, and will lose the face-off to Rimmer. Rimmer over to Connick, dropped on the no-look to Blake Miller. Heel guide in, and that was stopped off the glove, just enough of Joey Sylvester as Miller got a good look in on net. As the Hawks are now pushing for that 2-0 goal. We'll repeat the draw to the left of the Glace Bay net. Rimmer still in there. The Miners get a quick line change in. And another violation committed by the Miners. So Drew McPhee will step in to take the draw. And it's won back by McPhee. Into the corner, in behind the defenseman Reed. Picked up at the wall by Surratt. Finds McPhee at center ice, and he's got power through Rimmer. Or so he thought he did, as Rimmer had his stick in the right place at the right time for Halifax. And a 2-on-1 the other way, partially Connick. But Kempster, Harper, and him get mixed up on the play. And they will go offside for Halifax. Now 11:49 on the clock. And what a day of action it has been here in Dominion. A couple of nail-biting semifinal games for each of these teams to make it into the final. Glace Bay beating Dartmouth by a 5-4 score. And the Halifax Hawks downing the Bedford Blues by a 3-1 margin. That's a shot from Nickerson Meehan, is off a shin pad and wide. That's going to roll in behind the cage. Mason Reed in the middle of that for Glace Bay as it'll roll around. And the net once more is dislodged in behind the Glace Bay goaltender. We've seen that a few times in this game. And a few times throughout the weekend, perhaps part of the charm of the Dominion Arena here this weekend. The Vincent Brown line out there in the O-zone face-off for Halifax. 11:37 to go in the period. And the face-off is won back in the D-zone by Glace Bay. Sent up the middle where Matthew Hutt will play it off for McPhee. It's going to skip up and over his stick and sent back down into the zone by Halifax. Blake Graham is pushed up there by a Hawks forechecker. Hutt escapes in behind the net and passed up for McPhee on the right wing. Unable to hold it though as Keaton Bond will return that to the opposite corner. Now skating in is Aiden Todd. Will get crunched up there along the boards. And he tried to hold it there for a moment. But McPhee will escape the pressure and try to get this one out for the Miners. There he goes, right through the middle of the ice and across the center ice logo. McPhee carrying it through a pair of Halifax Hawks there. He's pushed off the puck by Sullivan, trying to escape his pressure. Spencer Baxter also in there throwing the body for Glace Bay. And Graham holding the line. Into the opposite corner, over the stick of Baxter. Will go into the puck battle with Todd. And Baxter picks it off, lets one go off the arm of an alert Cohen Blair, who had that shot come in hot from the perimeter and knocked up and out of play with 10.5 remaining here in the middle frame. Still 1-0 for the Halifax Hawks. And they'll get a D-zone draw with Glace Bay pushing with a couple chances. Hutt wins the draw clean. Down in behind the net for Zylstra. He's going to be checked off the puck. and brought back the other way. It's a 2-on-2 opportunity here. Wheeling around, Roman Marson to the net, and it's still loose on the side as Sylvester was outstretched in the crease. It'll roll into the corner as the Hawks are buzzing around. Peddle up to his defenseman Miller, and return down to the corner for Roman Marson. Marson to the net and kicked away by the toe of Sylvester. A minor player went down in front of the net. That was Graham. He's back on his feet. Zylstra attempting to clear the puck. And Joseph Rimmer will cut to the middle of the ice. Shoots and kicked away. Joey Sylvester, another sharp save here on a pressure-filled shift for the Halifax Hawks. Now in on top of the net and past Marson. Kicked up and held in by Blake Miller. Miller gets that down low, and the shot up and over the net. Rimmer whistled it over the head of Sylvester. Tang holds the line for Halifax. Now down low for Connick. Connick looking for that centering pass as Brown jumped off the bench over to the corner, and Blake Miller keeps it in the zone for the Hawks, who have had this Glace Bay line caught in the zone here for well over a minute. So some tired players here for the host team, and is finally sent up down the length of the ice for an icing call against the Miners. So the draw will come all the way back down to the Glace Bay zone, but on the bright side, they are able to change up some tired bodies. And not to forget, they are playing shorthanded in this game with 2 players serving suspensions this game. Miles Majic and Colby Kaiser out of the lineup, having been kicked out of the semifinal this morning. And a wrister from the point is turned aside easily by Sylvester. He saw through traffic. Gabriel Asselin will have his shot be knocked into the corner. Cut in the middle, Vincent Brown, toe to side. Oh, and the outstretched pad of Sylvester will knock that away as he makes a few sharp saves here the last few minutes. Now Jonas Threat cutting in, 1-on-3 pretty near for the Glace Bay Miners forward. They'll get set up there at the point and spinning around and shooting now is Duncan McKinnon. Second attempt through traffic is gobbled up by Cohen Blair, who will make the save and force the whistle. 8:25 to play here in the second period. 1-0 the score for Halifax. You're watching High Button Sports. Face off deep in Halifax territory. It's one back to the line for Gold, who lets a hard one go from the point into the chest protector of Blair. Will redo that draw to his left. So we will try that again. McPhee now in to take the face-off in the O-zone for the Miners. That's rolled around on the backhand. Sullivan sends it out the way it came, and Gold fanned on the wrister, and Halifax is up maybe with the numbers advantage. Joseph Rimmer lets it go along the ice, maybe looking for that backdoor pass to his teammate Aiden Todd. He's going to miss him as Rimmer throws the body check down in the corner. Sullivan on the line, and he kept it on the blue paint, and will throw it in for the save on the Glace Bay Miners goaltender Sylvester. Face off to the left of Sylvester. Vincent Brown on the O-zone face-off for the Hawks. Tried to get it over to Peddle, and Peddle will knock that back down to his centerman. Vincent Brown thought about the center, is knocked off the puck by Hutt as the chants get going here at the Dominion Arena. Sullivan from distance, and that'll be gobbled up by Sylvester with another save. He's had to be sharp here early in the second period, approaching the midway point actually of the middle frame here in the championship final of the U15 AA Provincial Championships. And it's been a great weekend. We want to thank you all for tuning in right now and all weekend long. Been going at it here since Thursday here in beautiful Dominion, Nova Scotia. And these teams have certainly put on a show for everybody, including the Glace Bay Miners, the host team. We've had lots of local fans turn out here and some good traveling parties from all of the other teams all weekend long as Threat will go up against a pair of Hawks in the corner. He's going to lose it. And up with speed the other way is Halifax. It's going to be Roman Marson on the far side, goes in one-on-one against Ferguson. Ferguson throws the body on Marson, and the backhand attempt in front of Peddle is knocked wide of the net. Blake Graham leaves that off for Ferguson. Change being made there by the Hawks. It'll get up to center ice, and it's thrown down into the corner by Blake Miller. More changes for Halifax. And a couple of D-to-D passes there for Glace Bay deep in their own zone. And Matthew Hutt will chip that around. 2-on-1 materializing. And into the middle of the ice, Spencer Melski had that roll just out of his reach. Otherwise, he would have been in alone on Blair. And there's a penalty coming up, going to go against the Glace Bay Miners as Blair heads to the bench. But before he gets there, it'll be touched up by the Miners. So the Halifax Hawks heading back to the power play here with 6:24 to go in the second period. We'll head down to the left side of the ice, to the right side of the Miners' net. Vincent Brown taking that draw, but will lose it to Glace Bay's Drew McPhee. It's a 2-on-2 battle down the corner, and Brown goes sliding on his stomach into the wall. He'll get back up, and the Hawks will get set up as Rimmer has it at the point. Skating in is Miller, looking for the net front option, continues in behind the goal, tries to drop it off for Connick, but there is a tie up there, and slapping it down the length of the ice is Spencer Baxter for Glace Bay. Baxter immediately heads to the bench, and Threat jumping on for the penalty killers. The only goal in this game came on a short-handed opportunity for the Halifax Hawks. That goal from Nickerson Meehan late in the first frame. And the Glace Bay Miners taking care of business on the penalty kill here so far. Another minute and a quarter for the Hawks on this power play. Joseph Rimmer is up through center ice. Waits at the blue line, but finally gains it. Left off for Nickerson Meehan. The stutter step over to his left for Rimmer. He's pursued there by Gold. Rimmer in front, tried to saucer over to Nickerson Meehan at the back door. He picks it up but didn't get the shot off. 49 seconds to go now on the Hawks power play. Played in down low for Rimmer, who is emerging from the corner. Up top for Blake Miller. Flies off his stick, gets to Rimmer, the toe drag, and tried to go up top. Took a funny bounce off the top of the glass. Play continues. Down and low for Miller. Exchanged the dish with Connick as Nickerson Meehan was knocked down in the slot area. It was a bit slow to get up, but he'll go in to throw the hit. Pursuing McPhee in the corner. He's been out the whole time for the penalty killers. Rimmer throwing to the far side. Miller, top of the circle, off a body in front. McPhee got in the way of that one and will muscle the backhand up to the Halifax blue line with 8 seconds to go until Hutt is out of the Glace Bay Miners penalty box. 4.5 to go here in the period as we return to 5-on-5, and the Miners with a huge kill, and Zylstra walks in front, and a last-second defensive play by Vincent Brown, who had to hustle back and relieve his defenseman to keep Cooper Zylstra from going in all alone for Glace Bay. 4:18 to score in the second period. 1-0 Halifax on High Button Sports. Off the face-off, back to Graham, and off the left arm of Matthew Hutt. Bounces wide. Hutt looking for a goal, had a hat trick in the semifinal matchup this morning against Dartmouth. Looking to find a little bit more of that magic here in the gold medal game on home ice. Pursuing him was a Hawk around the net, and Keaton Bond gets it up the center. Luke Peddle in through the legs of a Glace Bay Miners defender. He will collide with Blake Graham. And some cheers here from the Glace Bay Miners cheering section for Graham, who is then drugged down, and that will be a penalty against the Halifax Hawks on a hold. So the Glace Bay Miners get a power play with 3:38 to go here in the second period, seeing if they can get on the board before the Zamboni break. Vincent Brown heads to the box for 2 or less for Halifax. And Jonas Threat will line up at the dot for the Glace Bay power play unit, but it's won by his penalty-killing counterpart and sent out the center by the Hawks. Connick had a hustle on and tried to take it from Mason Reed, and Reed on the dump-in attempt put his team offside. As we get things going here on the latest Glace Bay Miners power play. Matthew Hutt now in to take the draw against Joseph Rimmer. The two captains from these teams putting up very impressive tournaments each. Rimmer, one of the leading point getters in the tournament, was tied for second in the round robin portion with 7 points in 4 games. Meanwhile, Matthew Hutt tied for the tournament lead in goal scoring with 6 goals. As Rimmer will steal it down in the zone, he's going to reverse it, and now Reed will settle it down for the Miners. Minute and a half still to go on the Miners power play, but they are cornered in here in their own zone. Bertram Gold tries to clear it out, but again, a pair of Halifax forecheckers making life hard. Gold will carry it into the zone and try to reverse for the snapper on the offhand. It's going to be blocked. Surratt does not have much room to operate. Will curl up top, back to the point for Reed. Played down for the shot. The Surratt side of the net tries to do the tuck, and it went through the crease as the goaltender was reaching across to get a pad on it, and the net was knocked off its moorings as the players were banging around the crease and oh so close to it. What would have been a huge goal for Jonas Surratt, who tried to do the tuck job around the close side post and sent it flying through the blue paint. 52 seconds to go on the Miners' man advantage, and 2.5 in the period. It's won back by Glace Bay. Blake Graham at the point. He had a goal in the semifinal, and it's tipped toward the net. Jamming away is Hutt, and somehow Cohen Blair came up with that puck once more for Halifax, and he lays out to ensure that it is covered. The Hawks will quickly change up their penalty killers, with Glace Bay really starting to press here on this power play opportunity. Threat in to take the draw. Squares up against Nickerson Meehan, but there was a face-off violation, so Kempster Harper will now step in. My mistake, it'll be Blake Miller, the defenseman, who wins the draw on the offhand for his team. But it goes by everybody, so Surratt picks it up in the far corner for Glace Bay. 33 seconds left to go on the power play, so a little bit more time to get a shot off here for the Miners. Ferguson, D to D. Blake Graham at the top of the dot, and that is blocked away by Blair through traffic. Curling up is Surratt. Ferguson at the top of the slot. In down low to the face-off circle for Hutt. Looking for the centering pass, and nobody was home for the Miners. Now 12 seconds on the man advantage. McPhee through traffic, and Surratt was right there, and Blair managed to kick it away. Ferguson, and in front of the net once more. Surratt digging a backhand, and Matthew Hutt had a little bit of time there, but didn't hit his mark as he got a little handcuffed, as there's a big hit in behind the play. Jonas Surratt throwing the body as he heads off the ice. Minute 25 to go. We're back to 5-on-5 here. Another big penalty kill in this game for the Halifax Hawks, who are leaning back on the defensive style of game here. They only gave up 1 goal in the win over Bedford, as Miller will cut to the net, trying to tuck that in on the offhand, and Miller is checked up there along the boards by a Glace Bay Miner. Now back to the point for Hollett. The shot is along the ice and wide. He'll hustle over to the other side, attempting to keep it in. His teammate Brown will, and Hollett will keep it going down the wall, but he'll take a bounce up off the boards and out of play into the Halifax Hawks bench, as Halifax looking to get a little more momentum going in the Glace Bay Miners zone before the end of the period. We're in the final minute before the end of the frame. Roman Marson taking the draw for Halifax, going up against Matthew Hutt, and Hutt will win in the D zone for Glace Bay. Marson chases his man down in behind the net, and it's held at the line by Asselin. Throwing in toward the net, and now some room up the middle. It's Melski, 2-on-1 for the Bay. The shot wide of the net, and maybe blocked there on a good defensive play by Theron Fortier for the Hawks. as Glace Bay for a second looked to have a good look down the other way, and it was Zylstra who had the puck and couldn't put it past Cohen Blair. 22 seconds remaining in the period. In behind the Halifax Hawks goal line, Asselin pressured there by Zylstra into the feet, mishandling that was Fortier. He'll have to throw it back up along the yellow bumper, and a shot from distance thrown to the net by Gold is covered by Cohen Blair. So the Miners with a couple of late chances here in the second period, and they might get another one here as we prepare for the face-off with 7 seconds on the clock before the end of the second period. Surratt taking the draw on Rimmer, and the back linesman will eject Rimmer from the face-off. So Kempster Harper will step in. Surratt wins it back through the feet of Hutt, gets it to Gold from the point, and the rebound kicks out too far for the shot attempt for Glace Bay to get a good chance in. As we come to the end of the second period here in the U15 AA Championship final game, and the Halifax Hawks are 15 minutes away from securing another provincial championship title, leading by a single goal after 2 in this one. 1-0 the score here in Dominion. You're watching the 2026 Nova Scotia Under-15 AA Provincial Hockey Championships here on High Button Sports. We'll return for the third period in about 10 minutes or so. You're watching the Nova Scotia 2026 Under 15 AA Championship Final here on High Button Sports. The third period about to get underway after 2 periods. Only 1 goal to speak of. That came from Jax Nickerson Meehan all the way back in the first period for Halifax. And they lead by a 1-0 score. Looking to defend their Under 15 AA title here at the provincial level. Well, Glace Bay trying to find the back of the net and get their home fans back into the energy element side of things here. As we get ready to go for the third, linesmen are putting the nets back in place. Halifax back on the left side of the ice in the red uniforms, and Glace Bay in the white. And here we go, win or take all. Here in the U15 final, breaking into the zone early is Jonas Surrett. It's going to pop out past the blue line on the defenseman Mason Reed, taken in a second time by Surrett, and it's picked up along the wall by Joseph Rimmer of the Halifax Hawks. Rimmer will pound his way through the neutral zone, joined there by Connick, who has jumped in behind the play. Surrett has to slow down. Maybe the ice a little bit sticky here on the fresh sheet to start the third period, as it threw Surrett for a little bit of a loop as he tried to come out from in behind his own goal line. He'll throw that pass up, picked up off the skate by Drew McPhee. Pressure there by Kempster Harper for the Hawks, and Vincent Brown jumps onto the ice. Brown curls off to the left toward the Glace Bay bench, lets it go along the ice, challenging the goaltender Joey Sylvester to start off this period. First minute gone here in the third frame, and Bertram Gold throws it on a reverse and checked off the puck by Theron Fortier. Tried to direct that toward the Glace Bay goal. That's going to be blocked and exited out of the zone. Maybe not, as Fortier held it on the backhand. Nickerson Meehan down the corner. Gold will shove him into the wall. Down along the boards on the other side, and McPhee plays it off for Gold. Gains center, Hutt in one-on-one. Lets the shot go, and Fortier close the gap on the Glace Bay captain. Sent back down the other way in a foot race as Luke Peddle hops on his horse. The icing is waved off. Good hustle there from the Hawks forward, and brought back down the other way now with numbers. Glace Bay Miners into the zone. Hutt, the drop pass to Zylstra, looking for Hutt. He'll retrieve it on the backhand. The centering attempt with Spencer Melski parked in front of the net. It doesn't quite get that far, and Blake Graham will have to settle it down at the opposing blue line. Zylstra up through the middle will lose it to Hollett, who's hustling in on the play, will slap the stick out of a defender's hands and keep skating in behind the net. Thrown in front, and Sylvester was almost caught out of position with Roman Marson buzzing in front of the Glace Bay goal. Milski hustles over to the wall, but can't get it out for Glace Bay, and Halifax will keep up the attack, but only for a second, as a tired Cooper Zylstra will slap that down the ice. Not hard enough, though, for an icing call. Play going on almost continuously since the start of the third period on the center ice faceoff, and carried into the zone by Halifax's Sullivan. Off the dash along the ice. Glace Bay unable to clear the first time. They do the second. Keaton Bond at his own blue line is going to find Kempster Harper. He has some room, looking for the blocker side. Up over the arm of Sylvester, but he misses the net. It's going to scatter back to Bond. Goes hard off the glass and off the tape of the defenseman Reed. 11:33 to go here in the third period. Hawks clinging on to a 1-0 lead as it's taken away by Rimmer, looking for that centering pass. Aiden Todd was up there, and now some runway for Jonas Surrett. That's stripped by Bond, who puts his stick in the right place at the right time, and will hustle to the bench for a change for Halifax. Gold back out on the ice. It's going to go through the legs of one of his players, and it's picked up at center by Jonathan McLean. His shot is low and off the boards. Surrett attempting to throw the hit as Hutt and Surrett join forces here. on this line for the Miners. Drew McPhee out there as well. It's going to get away from him. Drew McPhee has to hustle back. He looks up the ice. Corner there by Brown. Will force the turnover for Halifax. Brown on the backhand is Nickerson Meehan on the dump in. Gets it by Reed. Peddle, first man in, will steal it from Reed. Backhand attempt as Brown was waiting in front of the net. Now a battle along the wall as McPhee attempts to clear the zone for Glace Bay. It gets by Gold. Maybe a little bit of room here for Peddle if he can get the puck back. Throws the body in behind the net as Reed takes the body check. Spencer Baxter has to pinch into the corner as the winger and is taken away by Roman Marson, centered in front, and it went to Hutt. Marson took it away again. He got knotted up with McPhee. And play will continue on until now as it's iced by the Miners after a long shift in their own zone, with the Halifax Hawks causing some havoc in front of the Glace Bay net. Under 10 minutes to go here in the third period. Crunch time upon us here at the Dominion Arena. It's a tie-up off the face-off, down into the corner as the Hawks recover it. It's up over the net, and a good tip attempt there from Kempster Harper for Halifax, who almost put that up over the shoulder of Sylvester. DDD pass for the Miners off the skate of Melski and dumped into the corner by Zylstra. Bond gives chase and is taken away by Zylstra over the Melski. Now curling out of the corner on the backhand pass, looking for threat in front. Couldn't find him. It's held at the line by Ferguson and off the skate of Miller and wide of the net on the short side of Cohen Blair. Melski rooting for it in behind the goal and picked off by Rimmer, who's at the end of a change for Halifax. He'll get it up the center. Blake Miller slows it down, waits for his line mates to change. As Sullivan airmailed that up to the middle, taken by Hutt, and that's going to hit Miller on the way through. Matthew Hutt recovers, and Cam Ferguson throws it to the net. Now in the backhand, and the spin for Hutt is covered up in the crease by Blair, and a Glace Bay Miner was right in there jamming for a hopeful loose puck. But he ends up on the ice on his stomach, and the whistle will go. 8:50 to go in the third period. Glace Bay looking for the equalizer on High Button Sports. Off the draw, the face-off, won by Glace Bay in the O-zone. From the point, and blocked it away as Reed let that go from distance. Second attempt as Brown throws it along the bumper. Reed hit the skate of a Hawks defenseman in front. Brown with that block. Now a second attempt in front. Chaos in front of the net. And McKinnon had a look at the open cage, but couldn't get the stick on that before it was cleared by the Hawks. Now back for Reed. Exchanges passes with Hutt. The shot. Rebound alone. And McKinnon couldn't bury it. A stunning save by Cohen Blair as the Miners' Jonathan McLean was knocked down in behind the play. A couple of Miners players pleading for a call. They're not going to get it by the looks of things. And with 8:19 left, Cohen Blair continues to stand tall between the Halifax Hawks pipes. Face off to the right of Blair. The draw was initially won by Hutt. The Hawks with a challenge. Haven't got it out yet though, as Matthew Hutt will punch that in down low, and he'll get it into the corner past Miller. Hutt tries to wheel around, taken away and retrieved again by Jonas Surrett. Back to the point for Reed, and the shot from distance misses wide. Couple of good looks here for the Miners, who are looking to get the momentum going here in the third period, but now 2-on-1 formulates for the Hawks. Bounces high off the glass. Kempster Harper with a hard wrister. Now it's caught on the back of the goal cage. No whistle yet, and finally there it is as the puck came to a freeze in behind Joey Sylvester. And another entertaining hockey game. Only one goal separating the teams, and a weekend full of entertaining games. And it's been a fun week up here at the Dominion Arena. Great hospitality and a great facility. Been having a lot of fun here. So want to say a thank you to all the volunteers and the staff here at the rink and the tournament organizers for making it possible. and as well to you, the fans, for tuning in all weekend long here on High Button Sports. We're glad you could be a part of it here up to the end in the final as the Hawks will throw it in front through the crease of the goaltender Sylvester. Kempster Harper trying to root that out for Connick, his teammate. Comes back to Miller at the point. Now Bond will wind up from the point, bounces away, rebound. Kempster Harper on top of the net. Rimmer is in there as well. It's going to come back to the line, and it's mishandled by Blake Miller, who has to retreat to the center ice circle. Miller a little too quick on the re-entry as Kempster Harper was a little shaken up, and there's some pushing and shoving going on after the whistle. Surratt perhaps trying to stir some activity up with Blake Miller. Rimmer also having the word with the official. Just over 7 to go here in the third period. Waiting to take the draw is Matthew Hutt. will line up against Roman Marson, and Marson wins it back to his teammate Peddle. Blake Graham has to get a hustle on. Over to his defenseman Ferguson. Passed up from the wing, and Hutt will carry it through. He's knocked down in a big check thrown by Marson, knocking the captain off the puck. And Hollett will go for a skate. Looking to headman that puck up to Peddle as it's thrown in behind the net. Zylstra picks it up on the left wing for the Miners, but has to escape pressure in behind his own goal. And it's taken away by the Hawks in close range. Holland on top of the net. Rebound came to Peddle, and a huge stop by Joey Sylvester, and a chance that emerged out of nowhere. Irick Sullivan in close was looking glove side, but the shot missed the net. Thrown now toward the net by Fortier. Hit a block, second attempt. Is knocked away by Sylvester and covers it up in close range as the Hawks press with a few chances of their own and a few pushes and shoves and some extracurricular activity on top of the Glace Bay net, and a few protests here from up here in the crowd. And Hollett will head to the bench after picking up the stick that he just dropped. Now 6:08 left in the period. And a face-off to the left of the Miners' net. Jonas Surratt out to take the D-zone face-off. Will go up against Vincent Brown. He'll come onto the tape of Duncan McKinnon for Glace Bay. Cross ice for Drew McPhee. He's going to come to a stationary stop. Looks for McKinnon up the other way, and it's going to be an icing call against Glace Bay. So another face-off coming up in the Miners' zone with crunch time upon us in this third period. Less than 6 to go. Glace Bay pushing for the equalizer. But a good few shifts here for the Halifax Hawks to keep them on their heels in the meantime. Brown wins the draw clean in the O-zone for Halifax, and it comes back to Miller. He'll rim it along the wall. It's intercepted in behind the net by Reed. Glace Bay forces it up to the point, and Miller puts it back into where it was before. Bertram Gold hustling over will challenge Nickerson Meehan along the wall, and is picked off by Vincent Brown. Lets it go through the shot, and it bounces off the backside of the goal cage. It's recovered in behind the net by the Hawks as Nickerson Meehan is rubbed out along the wall by Gold. Brown now tried to make a play for the Hawks, but now a little bit of time and space here for the Miners to get it up and through. Is almost taken up the middle by Jonas Surratt, who couldn't quite corral it for a scoring chance. He'll roll on top of Cohen Blair's cage for the stop. 5:11 to go in the third period. 1-0 still the score for Halifax. A few minutes to go before a potential provincial championship title is clinched. Spencer Melski takes the face-off for the Miners. He's going to lose at the rimmer. Eludes Rimmer, and the shot from the point, it rolls from Graham, bouncing up and down off the ice, and picked up on a one and done and cleared by Halifax. Thrown into the corner, icing is waved off. It didn't quite make the goal line. So Graham goes in behind the net as a Hawks player went down as he lost an edge. Now Surratt has a little bit of time. Rimmer gets back on top of him. Also pursued there by Gabriel Asselin. Asselin rushes in behind the net and Fortier works it up the wall. Here come the Hawks the other way. Kempster Harper, the high pass far ahead of Connick, who can't get there. Rimmer does, but he takes a check from Hutt. Rimmer sneaks it through his legs, and a shooting chance. It will be bounced wide off of Sylvester after the player made a big save. Centering pass, second attempt for Rimmer, and he didn't get the look that he wanted on it as Cooper Zylstra has a impressive back check on that one. Kempster Harper walks in, and that is going to hit Cam Ferguson. Ferguson is hurting a little bit after that one, but he remains out there as it's shot down the ice by some tired Glace Bay Miners players with just over 4 minutes to go here in regulation in Dominion. Face off deep in Glace Bay territory. Roman Marson taking the draw. Up against Glace Bay's Drew McPhee. McPhee won it. And it'll come to Bertram Golden behind the net. Up to the winger and taps through the legs of Threat. And here comes McPhee going in 1-on-2. Tries to power through the check. Gets tied up there with the defenseman Bond. Off a skate looking for Hutt in the middle of the ice. And Reed lets it go along the ice. Patted away by Blair. Reed held the line with his feet. An impressive job by the Miners defenseman as it's thrown in behind the net. Irick Sullivan mishandled that in front of the net. And what would have been a good look for Jonathan McLean bounced away. It's kept in off a skate. Surratt long range up over the blocker of Blair, and it missed the net entirely. McPhee got tied up with a Hawk, and Halifax is down the other way. Roman Marson 1-on-1, padded away, kicked out with the right pad of Joey Sylvester. The pressure continues down the zone as Matthew Hollett hustles over, and a change for both of the teams. As 5-on-5 play continues, as it's thrown right in on top of Sylvester's net. He thought he could freeze it for a whistle, but there's a delayed offside, so he's told by the referee to play it. Here comes Matthew Hutt entering the zone, going in 1-on-4 essentially. He's joined there by McLean on top of the net for Glace Bay. Keep an eye on Sylvester's net as Hutt goes down the corner, and a huge block by Aiden Todd. Second attempt by Gold is gobbled up by Cohen Blair, who sees it through the traffic. Now down to 2.5 left in the third period. And the face-off will come in the Halifax zone. One back by Hutt, and is going to go around Surratt down the corner. And is picked off now by Merson. He's up there 2-on-2, flanked to the right by Nickerson Meehan. And it's directed to the net and covered up by Joey Sylvester down in the Glace Bay net. Now 2.25 on the clock, with Glace Bay running out of time to find the equalizer here in this gold medal game. The top line is out on the ice for the Halifax Hawks. Centered by Joseph Rimmer. And he's going to win the draw over Threat from the point. It's a floater up and over the net. Came off the tape of Lucas Tang, but the pressure remains down low from the Halifax Hawks. McPhee grabs it and will exit the zone for Glace Bay. Gets it up through center and goes on the dump in. He'll be the first man in. Surratt to the net. Also hanging in up high is Melski. And there goes Sylvester to the bench. 6-on-5 attack. Here comes the last stand for the Miners, but is flicked out to center ice by the Hawks. Looking for Melski. He's tired at the end of a shift, and getting in the way of that and the empty goal is Blake Graham. He's going to hit Threat up the middle of the ice at the Glace Bay blue line. McPhee mishandled it, but it pops up to Zylstra. Now picked up by Hutt into the zone. He's going to collide, and a big hit there with the Hawks defenseman Miller. A trio of Glace Bay Miners in behind the net. Minute 18 to go in regulation. The shot, Hutt, that rolls through the blue crease. Jamming at that was Threat, but he didn't quite get there, and the puck will bounce sharply up into the ceiling here at Dominion Arena as players from both teams exchanging some words with Drew McPhee in the middle of it. And it's going to be a timeout coming up here called by the Glace Bay Miners with 1:11 left in regulation time. And what a game this has been. They've had some high-scoring moments in this game, but just one goal to speak of here today. Jax Nickerson Meehan on a shorthanded opportunity way back in the first period, putting it under Sylvester for the lone goal thus far in the game, as the Hawks have done a marvelous job of locking down the offensive dynamo that is the Glace Bay Miners, holding them off the score sheet right now. But they'll have one look, one more chance for a minute and 11 to try and find the equalizer. And before play continues, there's a situation in front of the Halifax Hawks bench. It's like a chip in the ice of some sort that the linesmen are over there fixing up. It's Matthew Hutt in to take the draw against Joseph Rimmer of the Hawks. Once we return to play, the net is still empty for the Glace Bay Miners. Sylvester is on the bench. Mason Reed, Blake Graham, Jonah Surratt, Matthew Hutt, Spencer Melski, and Drew McPhee make up the 6 attackers here for the final push from Glace Bay to tie this game and maybe send it to overtime here in the final. And here we go. Glace Bay's last stand. They win the draw clean through traffic and chaos in front of the net. And somehow Cohen Blair was able to find it. It's cleared out immediately and well by Vincent Brown. And it's gotten up to the opposite end of the ice where it is cleared by McPhee. And he got tied up there with Kempster Harper of the Halifax Hawks. And Drew McPhee is up the ice with it. It's going to leave that back for Blake Graham. 40 seconds to go here in the game. Reed lifts that in behind the net. First man there is Keaton Bond. And can he clear it? No, he cannot. Reed holds the line and tipped maybe wide of the net by Hutt. So he didn't get the shot he anticipated. And McPhee will hold that along the wall, waiting for help there from Melski. And Hutt is joining the battle as well. 3-on-3. It comes back to the line for Graham. Over to Reed. The shot attempt. Panted away. Rebound. Oh, what a save by Cohen Blair. A showstopper with 12.4 left in the game. Easily his best of the day to rob Surratt of what would have been the tying goal in this gold medal match. Unbelievable from Cohen Blair. A huge gold medal game stop with seconds left on the clock. Amazing stuff from the Hawks goaltender. And it'll be a face-off to his left. It's won by Rimmer. Slammed up the boards. Kempster Harper down the ice. Icing called against Halifax. So we'll get another face-off, this time with 6.3 on the clock and a second chance after losing that draw for Glace Bay at the very, very end of regulation time, and they're pushing. Melski goes to the bench for Glace Bay, and they send out the man. It's a tie-up, back to the line. Graham the shot, missed the net, 1 second, and that will do it. The Halifax Hawks are the champions of the U15 AA League. They only needed one to do it. Jax Nickerson Meehan, the lone goal, shorthanded in the first. And who wouldn't mention A massive shutout performance from the Hawks goaltender Cohen Blair. 12 seconds left and open net to his glove side. And a great look for the Miners. And a robbery from Blair to seal the deal for the Halifax Hawks, who will repeat as the Nova Scotia Under-15 AA champions here in Dominion this weekend. And they take down the Glace Bay Miners in the final. And the teams will shake hands after this one before we get going with the ceremonies here. Glace Bay 5-0 heading into this game. Their first loss of the championship comes in the final. While the Halifax Hawks themselves, although they have tied 3 games during this tournament, will finish the provincial championship undefeated, taking care of business up here in Dominion this weekend. And what a team effort from the Hawks to get the job done as we throw it down to the ice for awards. And a big game as well from Sylvester for the Miners. Just 1 goal allowed in his performance. Gave it his all for Glace Bay in this game. And another player of the game honor for Nickerson Meehan. The championship winning goal for the Hawks. And what a medal round he has had today. Maybe the Hawks can call him Mr. Sunday with 2 game winning goals. 1 in the semifinal, 1 in the final for number 12 in the Hawks uniform.
Number 4, Miles Myers. Number 7, Bertram Gould. Number 8, Jonas Surratt. Number 9, Drew McPhee. Number 10, Chad Edwards. Number 11, Cam Ferguson. Number 12, Cooper Zalstra. Number 14, Spencer Baxter. Number 15, Matthew Hutt. Number 16, Jonathan McLean. Number 17, Mason Reed. Number 29, Zach Cooper. Number 66, Jack Pitcher. Number 87, Blake Graham. And number 97, Colby Kaiser. The head coach of Glace Bay, Daryl Babstock. Assistant coaches, Dave Pitcher, Sheldon Surratt, Andrew Graham. Equipment manager, Kenny McLean, and manager, Sarah Whittier.
Way to go, Miners!
It is now time for the Fair Play Award, presented by James Edwards and Dan St. John. The winner is the Halifax Hawks, with 18 total tournaments, the lowest overall. It is now time for the gold medal presentation to the Halifax Hawks. Number 1, Oliver Grinnell Brown. Number 2, Joseph Rimmer. Number 5, Keaton Bond. Number 6, Aiden Todd. Number 7, Theorin Fortier. Number 8, Ben Connick. Number 9, Luke Peddle. Number 10, Lucas Tang. Number 11, Eric Sullivan. Number 12, Jax Nickerson Meehan. Number 14, Vincent Brown. Number 15, Blake Miller. Number 17, Owen Kempster Harper. Number 18, Gabriel Alasson. Number 19, Cameron McDonald. Number 20, Matthew Holland. Number 31, Colin Blair. Number 3, Roman Marson. The head coach of Halifax, Brandon Potty, assistant coaches Shane Potty and Jason Bond, manager Ken Nickerson. At this time, we ask the captains of Halifax to come forward and receive the championship banner, as well as the 7 Conference championship flag.
And Halifax about to celebrate their title here after receiving their gold medals here for winning the U15 AA championship. Smile, boys. Your provincial champions. They will celebrate with this one. And now they can finally celebrate. Joseph Rimmer, go and thank their home fans. They climb up the short glass here in Dominion, showing them all what they won, and the rest of the team will mob them too. The Halifax Hawks, the 2026 Nova Scotia under 15 AA provincial champions, doing it for the second year in a row, bringing an end to what has been an exciting and thrilling hockey tournament to the very end here on Easter Sunday in Dominion, Nova Scotia. And we were glad to be here for every shot, goal, pass, and save along the way here on High Button Sports. Thank you for being part of our weekend here for the provincial championship in Dominion. On behalf of the team at High Button Sports, working up here in Cape Breton this weekend, on behalf of my colleague Jeff McIntyre, who also called games this weekend, my name is Luke Diamond, signing off here from Dominion here on this afternoon. Happy Easter Sunday from Dominion, and we'll catch you in the next one.